Hello and welcome to the Built for Growth podcast. Today is a bit of a unique episode. It's been a while since I've done a solo one, but it is Christmas morning. Well, I'm actually recording this a couple days before Christmas so that I can enjoy Christmas with my family. But if you are listening to this on Christmas Day, kudos to you. If you're not, also good job. Take some time off. You can listen to it whenever. But at the time of recording, it's almost Christmas, and I decided to do a solo episode so that I could let everyone else rest for the holidays. Today, I'm going to tell you the story about meeting Gina Carano for the first time and the many ways that she inspired my young career. And if I'm being honest, she still does inspire me to this day. Then I'm going to tell you or answer a few fan questions, and I'm going to talk about all the things that I'm moving into. Where's life headed? So thank you for submitting the questions, by the way. They were phenomenal. I wasn't able to get to all of them, but I'm going to get to quite a few in this episode. So really good. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Oh, and you can always go to mieshatate.com and submit questions whenever you like, because we just keep a stockpile of them. And the next solo episode, I will be looking to get to the rest of the questions. So let's dive into the story and all things Gina Carano. The first time I ever saw Gina Carano in person wasn't actually the day that I met her. On August 15th, 2009, just a few days before my 23rd birthday, I watched intently, carefully, as Gina Carano stepped into the Strikeforce cage. Her gloves were taped at the wrist and Vaseline was shining on her face. She was wearing a black rash guard with short white sleeves, and her board shorts were black on one leg and white on the other, with the colors reversed on the backside. And there was various sponsors scattered around on her rash guard and her shorts as well. And I admired her polarity. So beautiful and so powerful. But waiting inside the cage for her was Chris Cyborg, a woman of sheer power. Someone who I found less relatable, but I did admire her work ethic. She was so shockingly strong and powerful, and she quickly disposed of just about all of her opponents, including Gina Carano that night. Chris Cyborg was a woman in her own category, and it seemed like there was little any of the women could do to close the gap. Fast forward to Saturday, June 26th, 2010, and we arrive at the day that Fedor Emelianenko fought Fabricio Verdum in the main event in San Jose at the HP Pavilion. Since Gina and I had since Gina had retired, so I'm reading this, full disclosure, this part I am reading because I didn't want to mess it up, but here I am messing it up. So anyways, keep listening. Since Gina had retired after the fight with Cyborg, I wondered if I'd ever get the chance to meet her. But today, I was getting ready for the fights and I kept hearing my friend Melissa talk about Gina, saying things like Gina was going to meet us at the hotel and Gina was going to give us a ride to the event. And although, when she was saying her name, it sounded a little bit funny to me, but I was honestly too nervous to ask if she meant the Gina Carano or someone else. But I just kept it cool and pretended like I wouldn't be absolutely floored to have Gina give me a ride to the event. To my dismay, my friend Melissa had been saying Gino and not Gina. And her friend Gino was a guy and not Gina Carano. So um, I am glad that I never had to admit how badly I wanted to meet Gina and how bummed I was that my ears had been playing tricks on me. So yeah, I was kind of resigned to, once again, that I may never get the chance to meet her. I'm not even sure if I knew she was going to be at that event or not. But after the event, back at the hotel, there she was. She was in a black top and a gray jean skirt. Beautiful and strong, per usual. Um, and what only could be described as the sweetest energy surrounding her. The classic Gina smile was resting on her face, and she greeted our group in just the way she always does, warm and kind. She was already friends with a few of the girls in the group, and probably she knew most of those, the other girl fighters that was in the group that I was hanging out with, like Tanya Evinger and Melissa Sherwood, and maybe even Shayna Baszler was with us. But I can't recall if Shayna was with us that time or not. Um, but I think it was a group of about 6 of us. Um, so finally someone introduced me, and again, I tried to play it cool as a cucumber, but I was elated. She said, "Hi." She was like, "Oh my gosh." I remember she's like, "Oh my gosh, hi. It's so nice to meet you. You are so pretty. It's so nice to not be alone." And I certainly know that she meant no offense to any of the other female fighters, but it was rare to be super girly at that time and also enjoy getting into fistfights. So, I mean, let's put it this way. Gina and I were probably the only ones with heels and skirts on. So, if that tells you anything. Um, let's see. Oh, yes. Here we are, picking up where I was reading. So I'm kind of like reading and kind of also improvising a little bit as I remember this. But the one interaction left me with a sense that Gina is a real, genuine, and kind human, as kind as they come. And hanging out with her for the evening only deepened that belief as I witnessed her treat everyone with such love and respect. So there you have it. That is my intro to Gina Carano, and I will never forget it as long as I live. Isn't it funny how sometimes just one small interaction can mean so much? Sometimes we just hold on to it and let it drive us, right? I definitely feel like that is what Gina did for me was just be herself, and be beautiful and be strong. And she, um, she just opened my eyes to how to be that because I was just so young and I was less confident, you know? I was less confident in my life. Um, I was going through a lot, so I remember at that time, and I had a lot more to go through. Looking back on it now, I was probably not even halfway to the hardest part. But, Gina was just so poised and so gracious and so just nice. And she was really everything that I wanted to be. I loved that she treated everybody with respect. And I loved that she was just authentically herself. So she inspired me to grow in that direction. Um, okay, now that I have shared the fond memory of meeting Gina Carano for the first time, let's get to some of the fan questions and then I will wrap up the episode with what is next for me. So hang tight. Okay, moving on to the AMA. Ask me anything. I am abbreviating the last name down just to the last initial. Some of you submitted your full last names and some of you did not. So I'll include the last initial if you submitted it, but I don't want to put anybody's full name out there on blast, but you should know who you are. Okay. So first question is Andy L. It says, "Hello, Miesha, longtime fan. I followed your whole MMA career. So I've outgrown my peers and friends, most of them anyway, and I need more positive, probably meant positivity and growth oriented. Oh no, positive and, just read the whole thing. Okay. Let me do that again. I need more positive and growth oriented peer group. How can I connect or find a good network or mastermind group? Thanks so much for your time and God bless." Well, I love to hear the progression of growth, Andy. And I can genuinely say, like, I am proud of you for doing that. It's not easy, and it can be difficult to feel like you are outgrowing your friends. That doesn't make them bad people and doesn't make you bad people. But it would say, if you have the means, try to go to a wellness event. I find that there are just tremendous amount of like-minded people that are looking for change or growth, or a change in their health, that they are inspired to get better, and you will just be guided if you so let it be that way. You will be guided towards people who are looking for better, to better themselves and the betterment of the people around them. So, there's tons of them. I have no idea where you live. I know that there's a lot of them in Las Vegas, but they travel around. I think Jim Quick just had one. He's great. I was just at A4M not long ago. I know that Dave Asprey has quite a few events, and I know that some of these can be pricey. So just look around. I don't think that you need to go to a super pricey one. But I have found so many great people, good people looking for better. And it's just great to connect with them. So that's what I like. Maybe also getting out and hiking. Just kind of like when you're out in nature, things can just draw to you. Um, I don't know if there's any you can find any hot springs or plan a trip or something like that, but like sitting in a hot spring with people who love to get outdoors and enjoy nature, they're usually they're my kind of people. And it sounds like you are inspired to find people who are going to continue to push you in a direction that inspires your health and inspires your mental creativity and pushes you down the growth pipeline. And I find that these people are usually well connected to nature, they're well connected to themselves, and they are well connected to God. So, um, church is also a great place. I think that prayer is a great place. I think that if you pray and you have that conversation with the creator, the one above, then I think that he will fold that into your life. So, those are a few of my favorite ways to connect with others. Okay, on to question 2. Bill D. I'm seeing so much about AI, which I'm not liking, and how it's taking away so many jobs from people. What are your thoughts about AI and how will it impact the health and wellness industry? Will it be beneficial or harmful for mindset and well-being? Keep up the great work and positive influence that you provide to so many. Ooh, AI. Thanks for the question, Bill. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Okay, so I've listened to Elon Musk talk about AI, and whether Elon's your favorite person or not is not to the point. I think he's a very smart person, smarter than I. And when he said, if AI is ultimately truth seeking, then it could be great for humanity. I I tend to agree with that because if we have a truth seeking AI, the truth sets you free. I believe that. So, Um, I am very concerned about AI as well. I think that it probably will not evolve to be ultimately truth seeking because I think that there is too much corruption in this world and I have no idea how that is going to play out for humanity. But have you ever seen the movie Wall-E? The little robot? I remember the spaceship of humans that we've had to leave the planet because we've entirely destroyed it. And we're living up on a spaceship where everything is automated and done for you. And everybody is obese. And I mean, they all seem happy in it because, of course, it's like a cartoon. So I guess people can't really be miserable, but they're stupid and they can't do anything on their own. And AI basically does everything for them. And so, they painted this picture that it's all super cush. And I think that that is not too far off, except humans were not designed for things to be done for us. It leaves us with an emptiness and a void of purpose. So I think a human without purpose is sad. And I think it's not fulfilling. And I think that it would be and will be challenging for us to find our purpose. Now, here's where I think it could be good is that you're right. AI is taking over a lot of the jobs. And if that's the trend that keeps going, I don't know how we change it, but people are going to need to collect more unemployment, which I think will raise the taxes on these companies that are collecting, majority and have monopolized. Uh, and so if people then can choose to focus on their health and well-being, then perhaps we could get back to doing what makes us actually feel the best. And I don't think the best is being in school for 7 or 8 hours a day. I don't think that being the best is working a job for 8, 9 hours a day or more. I think humans were meant to be outside and like playing in streams and being in nature and creating things and growing things and connecting with animals and raising animals. Just I think there is just something so fulfilling in that. So in my idealist mind, that's the way that I would like to see it go. Should AI create a point where there's just not enough jobs for humans, then can we actually get back to meaningful purpose and maybe what actually makes us the happiest? Although I think that's easier said than done because I'm sure people will still just be massively distracted by AI and social media and all the things. So that is I don't know if that's a bleak take, but I guess it's how I feel about it. So question number 3, Steve D. Question number 1. Do you have any long-term goals or plans that you can share with us? And number 2, there is so much focus on the physical training for MMA. What did you do to mentally prepare for mental preparation and strength? Sorry about that. So I'm going to save question number 1. I'm going to answer that near the end. It will be tied into the end. But question number 2, yeah, tons of focus on the physical training. And it's so easy to miss the mental element because sometimes when we sit back and address things like how we feel, we think it's not productive. Why do we need to feel things to be a fighter? That doesn't make sense, right? Fighting has nothing to do with feelings. We get in an octagon and you're locked in there. There's very little time for thinking about, how your mom's doing or, um, your longevity and well-being, when you were a senior citizen. I mean, we just, so because we don't think about that when we're actually competing, I think a lot of times we barely afford ourselves the time to think about it any other time that we are preparing for training as we get sort of in a sickening way, we get obsessed. Um, so for me, it took a long time to figure out that there is a very important element for our mental preparation and strength. Now, when I was preparing for my fights with Rhonda, my fights with Sarah Kaufman, my fight with Holly, like lots of these fights, I was big on visualization. And I would always visualize myself getting through difficult moments. But then what I realized is I would always find myself in difficult moments. So I had kind of manifested the fact that I would have to overcome adversity. I kind of willed it to happen, which I think made for a lot of exciting fights. But I always thought that it was going to be difficult. And so therefore, usually it was. And I think there's just a part of that, a mental aspect of that I played into making the fights more difficult than they needed to be because I thought I had to get knocked down or hit really hard before I'd really like wake up. Um, so that was about the extent of my mental training at that point. But as I progressed, and after I took my 4-year layoff and I had my kids and all these things, I came back and I started working with Micah, who is a cognitive behavioral therapist. I think there's more accreditations than just that, but that's the one I can remember off the top of my head. He's amazing. The UFC provides him on staff for all of the fighters. If we want to schedule time with him, we can. And he is incredible. He has totally reframed the way that I think about not just performance, because that's what we talk about, in our hour-long sessions. It's about performance, but so much of us performing at our best is like how the rest of our time is spent and how we're treating ourselves. And So for me, a big change, if there's one takeaway that you could take from this, is focusing on what I can control. Man, talk about a mind blowing moment for me. Sounds easy, right? No, we are always so focused on everything we can't control that it feels like shit is constantly hitting the fan. Like constantly. We are worried about what other people are thinking. We are, so concerned about, well, what if, what if this happens? What if that happens? Well, those are intrusive thoughts. We can label those, but it's like a reframe. Okay. Well, yeah. What if this happens? Okay. What if it happens? What can you do about that right now? Oh, nothing? Okay. Then why are we focusing on that? What can you control in order to prepare you for if it does happen or prepare, hopefully, in a direction that doesn't happen? What can I do right now in this moment? What can I control? And once I started focusing on the things I can control, my anxiety levels went down. And I just felt like so much more of it was in my control, and that there were things that I could do right here, right now, that were meaningful instead of stressing about all the things that I didn't have control over. What if I lose this fight? Well, can I control that? Not really. I mean, all I can do, what can I do? I can go to the gym today and I can do as much as I can. That's what I can control. And if I go to the gym and I work hard and I do my drills and I stay disciplined and I stay on my diet, those are the things I can control right now. Then what are the chances that I have a higher success of winning this fight? They go up, right? The odds go up. So stop focusing in the future on the things you can't control. And the results will be what the results will be. But I have changed my focus, a reframe from being outcome based to being effort based. So I appreciate the effort that I put into everything, and the outcome will be what it will be. And whether it's a win or it's a loss, in a fight or in life, it's all perfect. Losses are just there to really teach you, to help you learn, and to make sure that you can appreciate your wins. If we won at something all the time, it wouldn't really feel like winning anymore. It's not till you've tasted defeat that you can truly appreciate victory. All right. Next question here from Craig V. What was it like to live in Singapore those days? I think it was during the pandemic. Was it difficult or not? Perhaps. Singapore was interesting. I liked it. I think it was a good experience. I'm glad that I was able to do it. Um, I have no interest in ever going back. I mean, maybe to visit, but I'm not even that interested in visiting because I really kind of got everything out of it. But it's a cool place. It kind of has these different like quadrant areas. There's one that's like a Chinatown, and it's just like it's so cool. Like you really feel like you're getting like a taste of China. Where it's like there's just like so much culture there and all the food and like the buildings and the structures, and it's so neat. And then there's like a Middle Eastern sort of like area where that was one of my favorites because the food, I loved it. It was so good. But the artwork again, the catechures, the mosques, these kinds of things, like you kind of get this feeling of the culture. And it was just neat. It was a cool place. The pandemic hit and it sucked. They cut this tiny little country into quadrants. And then it's like a benevolent dictatorship. That's the kind of government that they described there. So they they had these ambassadors that would walk around and give you tickets if you were not walking around with your mask on. And you also were not allowed to leave your quadrant, your one quarter of the country, unless you had a medical note saying like that you had to like travel over there for a doctor's appointment or something. So that wasn't fun. And I didn't like it. And I was like, I'm out. I need it. We were in a high rise, beautiful, beautiful condo. I mean, it was amazing. It had a view of the Marina Bay Sands. If you've never seen that, look it up. It's a pretty trippy building with like these giant, I think like three large towers, and it looks like a big ship, I guess is the best way to describe it, on the top. And it overlooks a beautiful marina. So it was beautiful. We'd see the light show and the water show every night. Um, and it was a great experience, but I got what I needed out of it, and I'm very happy to be back in the US. Alrighty, Bobby J, how has your faith played a role in life when things can get tough. Also, I know you love helping everyone. Where do you see yourself in the future after fighting? Like goal wise, the things you still want to accomplish, keep being a light to all and always doing an awesome job. Thanks. If I could read, I feel like the glare threw my eyes off there for a second. Thank you. Bobby, thanks for this. You're so spot on about the faith. Um, I think I've talked about this a little bit before. I know certainly my intro episode, and if you've listened to any other episodes, so I won't go into too much detail, but in case it's the first time you've heard it, there was a moment in time when I was exiting a toxic relationship, and that was my darkest moment. I retired from fighting. I lost 2 fights in a row. I had seen behind the curtain the illusion of winning the belt, that it was going to fix everything for me, and if I just finally got there, then I would be happy, and it was just all a big fat lie and a slap in the face. And I think the lie hurt. The slap in the face woke me up. I am a fighter, and so are you. It is a choice. We have not given up on ourselves. I did not give up on myself. I thought about it. I really contemplated what it would be like to take myself out of this world. Contemplated about it real heavy and real hard. And in that moment, the only thing that I had was a prayer. And that's what I did. And it wasn't even for sure, I know you're there, God. I know that you're going to help me out. It was kind of like a question. Like, Jesus, like, if you're there, God, if you're there, and if you're there, I need help. I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am. I'm scared. I'm afraid. I don't want to die, but I don't want to live like this anymore. And a prayer can be so powerful. Even if you don't know, if you're not sure if there's a God, try it out. Say a prayer with your heart and see what comes to you from it. Because for me, that moment changed the trajectory of my life and it saved my life. It was hanging by a thread. And God was there for me. And I believe he's there for all of us. So that was my light. And thank you so much for, the kind words afterwards. I do love to help people. I think that that is my duty. I think that when I prayed about, coming towards the end of my career and all of the things that I've been so blessed with, like, Lord God, I am thankful. I am grateful. What can I do with my blessings? Please, guide me. Tell me, where should I be? My hands are capable. My heart is willing. My mind is open. How can I be of service to you, God? How can I help other people? And honestly, it was one of the main reasons for starting this podcast. I'm sure most of you know that my inspiration for doing this was, the prayers with God and also losing my coach, Robert Follis, to suicide. He took his own life. And I know what it feels like to be in that moment. And I wished that he had experienced a prayer like I had, but we lost him. And I hope and I pray and I have faith that we can do better, that we can come together as people and receive others with open arms. And I love that God is always ready to meet you where you're at. That's the coolest part. You could be so broken and feel so worthless and have done terrible things in your life that you think maybe you're not even deserving of love. And God loves you anyways. And he will meet you right where you are, as imperfect as you are, when you give your heart to him. So, I know you asked where I see myself in the future. after fighting. I'm going to get to that. Hang on. I've got a few more questions here. I'm going to kind of get to that towards the end as I'm wrapping up. All right. Ronaldo, no, Ronald. I don't know why I wanted to say Ronaldo. Ronald S. Question. With all of the various hype and ads, how do you know which supplements are actually safe and effective? Ooh, this is one of my favorites. Okay, I love this question. I mean, they're all great questions, but this is so fun for me to answer. I'm so glad to be able to give you guys something helpful. Okay, so if you're watching this, you're going to be able to see here. I'm going to hold up my phone and you'll see this is a list of approved supplement certifications for us as UFC fighters that cannot afford to have anything tainted in our system. So you will see NSF certified sport. NSF is what I look for on the label, the packaging of my supplements. But any of these, depending on where you live, there's Asta, that's probably somewhere in Mexico or Spain. There's Informed Choice. That's a good one. BSGC. That's another good one. Kind of scrolling through here. True Shield. There's a few. So this is a good place to start because I'll talk a little bit about NSF certification. What that basically means is that what's in the bottle is what's in the bottle. What they say is in the bottle is in the bottle. Okay. That's important because a lot of these labels, people don't realize that the supplement industry is not regulated by the FDA. So they could just say that these things are in the bottle and there could be other things in the bottle that are not listed, or there could not even be the stuff that's listed. So supplements are a scary one and you take a real risk. And by the way, I don't know if this is true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. I have seen people complaining about supplements that they are getting from Amazon that are not the actual supplement. And actually, I believe it was like small company owners who are saying, Amazon, this is not safe. You have to verify that the Amazon, they were claiming, should verify and make sure that the product that this person is trying to buy is coming from the right source. But to my knowledge, that's not the case. And so it could look like the product. And there are a lot of, I mean, I can't even count how many fake profiles there are of myself. Any way that these bottom feeders can make money, they will do it. And if they could just literally throw some dirt in some capsules and sell it to you for a premium price because you think that you're getting a supplement that is safe and effective, think again. It might just be worth spending a little bit extra. And a lot of these places, if you buy enough, a certain amount, then you get free shipping anyway. So I really say buy direct from the source. Um, I know that Bioptimizers is a really good one that I like. I also like the minerals. These are ones I use on a regular basis. And I use the magnesium one from Bioptimizers. Um, and from Beam Minerals, I love their minerals. I don't use the electrolyte one as much because I already take electrolytes, but I forget what the dark one is called. It's a dark in color, but it's minerals basically. That one's great. Um, and there are a few others. Let's see, molecular hydrogen. That's another one that I like to take. I think it's Rejuvenate is the brand. All of these are on my website and I have discount codes in there too. But don't feel pressured at all to buy through my website or you get a discount automatically if you go to my website. If you go to their website, you have to have a code, which is probably somewhere in previous episodes. Since I've worked with these companies before and I do use them. Oh, another one, IM8. That's a really good one. I've been really enjoying that about the past year and I haven't really talked about it, but I think we're going to be working together in the future. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited about that one. It seems like really good progress is coming out from them, but they are NSF certified and very clean. And I actually know a couple of the doctors that are on the board. Anyways, that's what I have for that. Okay. Question from Scarlett L. How much longer do you see yourself fighting? And what do you want to be remembered for while you fought, both in and out of the cage? You're one of the best to ever do it. Wish you well. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Scarlett. Not much longer. I don't see myself fighting for much longer. And what do I want to be remembered for? I want to be remembered for my unrelenting drive and will and determination, not just in each fight, but over the longevity of my career, that I evolved. I I hope that people could see my growth. I hope that people can appreciate my spiritual connection and what that has done for me. And I hope that people will be inspired to slow down a little bit and check in with themselves. How are you feeling today? You should be asking yourself that. Not once a day, like multiple times a day. Another little trick that Micah used to help me do that, because I was so used to never asking myself that. I never even thought about asking myself that. Like, who cares how I feel? I have fights to win. What do feelings have to do with it? Like, feelings are annoying. I don't like having feelings. I don't, sad is bad. Mad is bad. Like all these things. No. Emotions are human. We all have them. We all need to process them. We need to learn how to do that. So one of the first steps was like putting little stickers in random places. It's so funny. If you ever get a chance to visit the UFC Performance Institute, um, you go around the downstairs locker, or not the locker area. Well, some maybe even the locker. No, probably not the locker area, but in where the weights are at. And you'll see these little orange round stickers. And the athletes know what those are who work with Micah. It's like, oh, that's a reminder to like, how am I feeling right now? Just like a basic check-in. And if I'm noticing that I'm stressed, what can I do about it? What can I control right now? Well, I can take a deep breath. I could do that. That's what I can control right now. So it's all in these layers. And so he gave me a sheet of those stickers, and I put one on my steering wheel, put one on my front door. I put one on the fridge. I just put them around my house, and then I would change it up every week so that I wouldn't just kind of start tuning them out. I would put them in different places, and it just reminded me to check in with myself. So I just hope that, long story short, that I inspire people to do that and to listen to themselves and to grow. As my coach Robert Fowles always said, change is inevitable. Growth is optional. So you got to choose it. All right. Jacob B. I've been a fan of yours since you were Takedown Tate. Oh my gosh. Way back in the day. Talk about like first, oh my gosh, all my amateur fights and my very first strike, first fight against Elena Beef Maxwell. I was still Takedown Tate. Um, when you beat home, I was jumping up and down with my friends in the living room. Do you think back on that moment often, or is it something that you move on from as a competitor? Well, of course, I think back on the moment, and I have wonderful fans like you, Jacob, to bring that memory back up for me, and it will always have a special place in my heart, for sure. But I can honestly say that I am inspired to live more in the present than I am in the past or in the future. So it was a moment in time, and it was a really cool moment. My goal is that someday when I'm an old woman and I am laying there knowing that my time is short on this earth, that moment won't even be a top 5. That's my goal. I know that my greatest moments, my greatest achievements are still to come, because I am no longer what can I do for me? I am what can I do for you? How can I help you? Because helping you does help me. It fills my cup in a way more meaningful way than being a world champion ever did. So, amazing moment. You know, probably the height of, yeah, the most heightened moment of my career. And I worked really hard for that and I'm proud of it. But there's more meaningful things that I can do. And so here I am in the seat hoping to do that. All right. I'm not sure how to say this name. Shaig? Shaig. Okay, it says, "Hello, Miesha. I have watched a lot of your fights, and I would like to ask, have you ever been in a real fight with other women out of the cage? How it ended? Thanks." Okay. I wish I had some really cool story for you. Not really, actually. I'm glad. No, I've never been in a street fight outside of, I've never been in a street fight or any kind of a fight outside of training or fighting inside of, a controlled environment. Um, I don't know if I'm just really good at not being in the wrong place at the wrong time or if I have like a contagious calm energy. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that I'm not super prideful and I just have I'm not hot-headed, so I'm not easily goaded into doing things like that are not rational, I guess. And that's just my personality. I've just always kind of been that way. I'm not someone to fly off the handle, like even, like with my significant other or people around me. If I'm starting to get very frustrated, I will usually ask for space and for it to like circle back around later so we could talk about it when I'm not about to say things that I don't mean. So, no cool stories there. Sorry about that. All right. Last but not least question, which will roll kind of into the ending here, but hang with me. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be up to. Brad asked, if they offered you the opening fight in the White House card versus Ronda Rousey, would you take it? Wanting to avenge the first two, knowing that she's been away from the sport for a long time. Or, if not, what matchup would you like? Ooh, this is a great one. I am going to tie in the other questions that we're kind of asking about what next in with this one about what I want. So I'm going to be totally transparent and honest with you guys. Okay. Um, I had two opportunities to beat Ronda and I didn't make it happen. I always wanted that third fight, but I am physically past my prime and there's just no way around it. Father Time doesn't spare anybody. I think my greatest moment where my athleticism and my mental capacity and my emotional state were the very best at about, I think it was 37, 38 when I forget how old I was when I fought Julia Avila. That was my best fight ever. I was just so great in that moment that on that night, I believed it would have been a good night for me to fight Ronda. Would have been a good night for me to fight anybody because I was so prepared and everything was working together. And then in that fight, as I'm on Julia's back and I'm just being super aggressive, I go to flatten her out and I hear or feel it. It feels like you can hear it when it's in your own body, but I felt, okay, first round. I knew something wasn't right in my knee. Second round, the emotions, you're like in this flow state and kind of high, if you will, but like super focused way, but like not in this world. It's like you're not of this world. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I was just so honed in on the objective and what I needed to do and how I was going to do it. And um second round goes great. Third round, get on her back again, go to flatten her out, same position. I feel a deeper tear pop. And I feel my knee completely open on the side. So what had happened was in the first round, I tore my first or second, I can't remember. I tore my LCL. So that's the ligament that runs on the outside of your knee. And so that was gone. Okay. So when I went to flatten her out, which puts a lot of pressure on the outsides of your knee, in the third round, there was nothing to hold my knee together on the outside of my knee. So my knee began to open and it tore my PCL. So the PCL and the ACL run together. ACL runs more in the front side of the knee and the PCL runs in the back side of the knee. So people tear their PCL when they like get in like a car accident and their knee like hits the front and or shin hits the front and it kind of like jars it backwards and tears the back side of the ligament that's connected in the knee. Slightly better than the ACL, but not much. Okay. So that took me out for the better part of a year. And I was pretty depressed about it because I really felt like, oh my gosh, I finally figured it out. I wanted to keep that rolling. I felt like I could have gone right into like, was working my way on a title shot. And I was like, this is the synergy. This is what I've needed my whole career. And then I'm out. And the recovery from that, I don't think the surgery was like an A plus. I don't think the results were an A plus. And it's okay. But my biggest battle at that point was just to try to fight again. And so, yeah, I was out for more than a year, I think 14 months. And then the moment that I was cleared, not perfect, but cleared, I took the fight with Yana. And um, I pushed myself really hard just to be able to get back in there again. I was really proud of myself, but I came up short in that fight. It was a great fight. I think it was competitive. It was fun. I loved it, but I just couldn't do the things that I could do before. And I kind of got my answer then um, of the trajectory of the rest of my career. So I have one fight left on my contract, and I'm torn on whether I fulfill it or I just leave it. Uh, what I am saying is that most fights right now are not interesting to me. It would take something special, like a certain location or a certain opponent that was just like, w- you know, one in a kind, super rare opportunity. So if they offered me Gina Carano at the White House, I don't think I could say no to that. Any other fight or location, I may be leaning towards not fighting again, but we will see. Sometimes you just catch the bug and you just know you got to do it. Um, but I'm also not one of these fighters that's just clamoring for those, final few moments in the octagon. I got to shake the hand who is the best version of the woman I will likely ever be inside the octagon on that night when I fought Julia Vila. That was my best. And I'm so happy about it. I don't I don't have anything else to prove. And I've had my opportunities and I've had the things and I sometimes I didn't do it. I wasn't able to do it. And I'm also at peace with that. Um so something really special like that where I'm able to fight someone that I just adore and love. I don't think that I am in a place where I really want to go through the mental toxicity and the mental load of fighting a nemesis, much less the physical parts of it and stuff. I had my chances and I wasn't able to do it. So that's kind of where I think I'm at. So we'll see what opportunities presents itself. I am not calling it official right now, but I'm just saying it would have to be something special, something more than just a fight, just to do a last fight. Um, I've made a lot of money. I've been a world champion. I've met my best self and I've pushed through unbelievable adversity. Getting over that knee injury, in my late 30s and coming back, fighting, just getting in there again. Just getting in there was a huge win for me. So I'm at peace with it. I don't feel like I have anything else to prove. And I'm loving being a mom. I'm loving doing this podcast. And I'm ready to kind of move into my homesteading years. So let's move on a little bit from that to, the few of the other things that I'm doing right now. The podcast just broke into the top 100, which is on iTunes, which is it's a big deal because there are a lot of podcasts. I don't know if you know this. There are a lot. Everybody wants to do a podcast. But I'm here for the long haul. I am making this space a place where you and I can grow together, where I will be transparent and I will share honestly. I will not promote things that I don't use. I will not lie to you. Like, I want the best. That is why I'm doing this. Um, and so the podcast is this is my passion project. I also want to do more public speaking. So just throwing it out there. If anybody, thinks that I'd be good, they know somebody who needs a public speaker, hey, go to my website, mieshatate.com, hit me up, ask a question, submit it, whatever. It's all, we all, get it. My team gets it. And I'd love to do that. Also wouldn't mind to do more seminars. Those are super fun. I love being on the mats with people and just being able to teach and see like kids connect with it, see adults connect with the things. And uh, it's really rewarding. I love working hands-on with people. Um, I'm also going to be homesteading, you guys. I am so ready to like throw on an apron and frolic barefoot with goats in my field and cook chicken eggs from my own chickens. Like, you wouldn't believe it. I'm so excited to be able to do that. So, plan on being in the more homestead environment in Boise, Idaho. That's where I'm headed. Yeah, probably be making my own small batches of wine and all kinds of cool stuff. So, and definitely lots of sourdough. That's a classic trad wife thing, right? So I'm moving more into that direction. I'm going to homeschool my kids. Can't stand public school. I think that's a great way to destroy family. So, you guys have probably heard me complain at length about, public school. Not to be confused with teachers, but they just are sucked into the same and handcuffed the same way. So that's what I want to do. Okay, you guys, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for listening always. Thank you for supporting me in all the ways that you do. Um, and if you don't mind, if you could like or subscribe to the podcast if you're not already, and maybe share an episode that could help like somebody one of your friends. It's so appreciated. It's a really wonderful way to support me at no extra cost. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I appreciate you guys taking the time. And whenever you're listening, sorry if you're listening to this in July. Just a quick note again, it was filmed in December 2025. Um, you guys, once again, you can head to my website, mieshatate.com. You guys can always submit your questions there. I love getting to fan questions. And you guys can sign up for my newsletter. And there's some really exciting things to come. I've just partnered up with a new brand strategy group. So we're going to be transitioning the brand a little bit. My goal, which I probably should have addressed this a little bit earlier, is to help women a little bit more, which men, this is going to help you too. Because when women are frustrated with what's going on with our bodies and our hormones, we feel trapped, okay? Because we're living in it. You guys feel confused because you're just like, what did I do wrong? Like, why was it okay to do this week and not this week? Okay. It's the price we women have to pay to bring every single human that lives on this planet into existence. And it's a high price to pay, but it's more expensive if you don't understand it. And there's just a lot to be talked about here. Women's health, women's hormones, women's performance, pretty much apply most of the stuff to you guys too. It's just way easier. There's just things that we need to do. And so I want to be an advocate for more studies and more research on women. We need it. Why is it not there? I don't know. But glove me up. I'm ready to go fight for it. So we will be transitioning a little bit, talking about those things, helping you guys out to navigate your relationships with the lovely women in your lives. And ladies, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out together because I will tell you what, it has been incredibly powerful for me to learn about my hormones and to track how I'm feeling and notice patterns throughout my 28 days that affect me. Um, and I will say just not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, a week ago, I don't know, time goes by fast. Um, I was in the gym and I'm just like lifting and I'm just like feeling great. And I was like, God, I love the ovulation phase. It's just so great. It's like when testosterone's available, like, such a wonderful hormone. I was just feeling great. And my trainer was like, she's like, Misha, it's cool that you pay attention to all this. And it really does seem like it affects you differently. And I said, it's not that I can't do these things in the latter part of my cycle, but it takes way more away from me. So when I go home to try to be a mama, I'm just way more exhausted because I put all that energy into the gym, whereas like if I find the balance in it and I listen to myself with honest accountability, that's just like the best way to do life. So that's also a direction you may notice a little bit of change coming up on my social media. I appreciate all the love and support. Thanks again, and I won't keep you any longer. Yeah. Thanks for listening.